How's it going, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Excited to be with you today. We're talking about PulseX today. One of my favorite tokens. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I think Hex is still probably my number one. PulseX might be my second favorite. It could be. I don't know. I think, we did the whole PLS versus PLSX versus Hex versus Ink debate. And I thought that was really good and insightful and really brought out a lot of good data on each. So of the core coins, I don't know, PulseX is definitely a solid number two, if not number one. If not, it's maybe on. Man, got me thinking. Got me bullish just thinking about it. So I realized though, a lot of people may have sacrificed, checked back in every once in a while, or not much at all, or just checked in, checked out. Hopefully they'll come back. We start doing a glory run and still have their PulseX bags and able to capture a lot of mad gains. But a lot of you may have forgotten or not even know the story of one of the coolest tokens that hasn't achieved glory yet. So I want to go through that. I want to talk about PulseX and kind of the origins and a few numbers and stuff around it too, and data analytics. I've asked on X about where do you look at PulseX stats. It's surprisingly not confusing, but kind of like off the top of my head, it is hard to be like, where's the place to find the best stats? It's kind of like there's a few different things scattered in a few different places. Can somebody look into PulseX.com? I know you do the work, but boy, it'd be nice to just have everything in one place, every single stat you could think of, and beautiful charts everywhere and all that stuff. But today, and if that exists, please let me know. But I am unaware of the one-stop shop for PulseX, unless I just have to be forgetting it today. So, number one DEX on PulseChain. How did it start, though? And if you want to get to PulseX, by the way, you can go to app.pulsex.com. That'll give you that's the official landing page. It'll give you the link and ask you if you want to download it or launch it, and do it with the IPFS and all that stuff with a long URL. But I like to go to gorealdefi.com and click the big X and get a nice little URL and stuff with that. So this is PulseX. How has it changed? I wonder actually if we can take a look at, let's go to Wayback Machine, one of my favorite websites to look for historical stuff. I wonder if we can go to PulseX. Did it used to be app? I can't even remember. Like literally, it's been so long since we did IPFS. IPFS on all the stuff happened, I want to say 6 months after launch, because GoRealDefi, I created GoRealDefi because it was so like, okay, I got to click and this got this URL, this crazy URL. And like as a non-technical person, it looks super confusing for onboarding. So I created GoRealDefi for that. So I created GoRealDefi. It had to be November, December in 2023, later that year. So IPFS must have happened right around that time, right before it. Also, fun fact, was one of the first debates ever hosted on the channel between Goldkey and KDP on, what was it called? Was it just the IPFS debate or the decentralized, something like that? Pretty interesting one. So again, I can't even remember. Did app.pulsex.com just used to go to the app when it was centrally hosted? I'm going to guess yes, but I can't even remember. It's been this long. So of course we launched May 12th, May 13th. So let's check out one of these, see what it used to look like. I've also got some really, really early beta previews of what PulseX used to look like as well. So, by the way, the FOMC is happening. Thank you, Garrett, for that. I was kind of wondering when it was going to happen today. Let me know what it says, or remind me in 30 minutes to take a look and be able to quick peek at that. But yeah, let's see. Let's hope for number go up. We'll see. I don't know. People are kind of. It's like at this point where people are, you can make a case for, oh no, number go too high and it might spook the markets and stuff too. But it's like, I don't know. Just want my crypto bags to go up. Dev, what can I ask for? Come on. So this is May 13th. Let's see if it's going to load the entire site. Did it literally just say exchange liquidity here? Do we not have? Yeah, I think this was like kind of the super early preview of PulseX. I wish I could go to, okay, that says /swap. Where can I go to that is, let's see, where would the farm just be like /farms? Let's see if it has this URL. Get some PulseX history and some bullish notes as well. Hopefully you're able to capture that from the stream. Get your questions. If you have any PulseX questions, I'll answer as many as I can, but probably only go for about 45 minutes or so in total. We'll see if you can pull that up. So the reason I want to pull that up too is because it's changed a bit. When it first launched, I mean, there's the AMM fixer bot. Does it still talk about AMM fixer bot here? Yeah, here we go. So PulseX will have the most liquidity on PulseChain. The initial liquidity for PulseX comes from a bot called the AMM ratio fixer bot. Is harvested around 99% of coins, liquid from Uniswap, SushiSwap, and other popular markets at launch, recreates those pairs on PulseX and adds liquidity to harvest along the way with fresh PLS. Make sure PulseX has vastly most liquid exchange on PulseChain. So that was an interesting thing, and there's been like pros and cons and stuff cases I've presented with that. But that was, man, when PulseChain launched, yeah, it was an interesting time when you do something where you literally have a copy. The network changes, you got a copy of all the coins, and now you have a DEX that can trade all the coins. It's the fixer ratio bot was, I'm not going to go into technical detail, but it's like supposed to go, get up, buy up, extract all the liquidity, get all the coins and stuff that it can from the copy over pools and all that, and then put them into PulseX and source stuff and do things like that. So, we used to talk about what will the liquidity be used for? What will, if the OA or otherwise got great deals on copied coins and stuff like that. Well, there's all these theories, but those mostly, I don't know what is the leading theory on that these days as far as people still talk about. Is that like a forgotten thing people talked about, the AMM fixer bot and the result of that may or may not be realized on PulseChain as well. So there could be some interesting stuff in the future about that whole piece. I still think the P-copy narrative, world's largest airdrop, I don't think it's played out yet. I don't think it's attracted, other than a few months after launch, attracted a lot of people to the chain because we had to kind of jump around, try not to get ahead of myself too. But there are a bunch of farms launched. You can actually see on PulseX today which farms launched. Let me check and see. I did do farms. Okay. Let me go back and just pick another snapshot too and let that load. So you can see which farms used to be on here if you click finish. So you can see there used to be Rat BTC farm, Pepe farm. I think that was the only, were those the, so this was Uni from Ethereum. So these were not the P copies, right? These were Uni from Ethereum, PLS, Link from Ethereum, PLS, Wrap Bitcoin from Ethereum, PLS. And then the only P copy farm appears to be the Pepe PLS farm. So there was a Pepe from Ethereum and Pepe from Ethereum, Pepe on PulseChain, P copy farm, and then a P copy farm Pepe or P Pepe on PulseChain that was the P copy from Ethereum, but not Pepe from Ethereum, the copied over one, and PLS farm. Those, oh no, there was a wrapped Bitcoin. Okay, so there's two different P copy farms on PulseX. I think happened in the same, within probably 2 or 3 months of launch. So also the wrapped Bitcoin, that was a P copy, and the wrapped Bitcoin from Ethereum and the P copy. So it's two farms, a Pepe and wrapped Bitcoin, with the 2 P copy farms on PulseX. Yeah, that I can see here. So also inflation used to be much higher. The monetary policy changed, knobs turned on PulseX. the ink inflation got slashed, I don't know, was it 90-some%? So ink become much more rare. Again, I've always said I think ink need, like, for the liquidity problems for PulseChain, like for all these things to thrive, ink needs to be worth something, because it's what this sloth popularized, the crypto sloth popularized the description of ink in the beginning too, around monetizing time. Ink is like monetizing risk. So you're providing liquidity, you're earning ink, you're earning another token. It's, maybe that offsets the permanent loss if the token price is worth something, all that too. I know I'm jumping around. There's like a ton of, I feel like I've talked about PulseX so much in the past, especially that I have, there's like every piece of this, there's some like nuance or some interesting thing that's happened before. Because PulseX looks way different than it used to. And that's what I was trying to show here. Although it's not giving me a super good, let me go back for a second. And I'll share a link in a minute too about what the pre-version of PulseX used to look like. Not a lot of people have seen this unless you watched my stream a while back when I was talking about this. Let's go to June maybe. See if we got a better capture there. So PulseX launched when PulseChain launched, and then well, did that happen in June? That wasn't that fast, was it? Was it really like a month or so after launch? Let me check these times. Where am I at? Oh, unless I click 2025. Maybe I did. No way. No, I think I was in 2025. So let's go to, where's something? They have more than one snapshot on one of these. Yeah, let's just go to June. Let's try this one. I'll dig up the vintage PulseX link as well. I think I have it here. Yeah. Early look at the farms stuff. Put that in here. So after it launched 2, there was V1, V2 became a thing. So not V1, V2 Uniswap, but V1, V2 as in, I've affectionately called them burn and earn. So V1, so for a while in the farms, so if you go to the farms now, you can see they changed the interface a little bit, or in liquidity. So there's V1, V2, and stable. So that's stable swap. That was a feature added later on as well, probably earlier this year or so, or late last year. And there's V1, V2. So there was a bug where the fees they were all being burned instead of being distributed. Because if you try to add liquidity, so if I do add liquidity, it tells you, it's actually really good. It tells you at the bottom. So it defaults to V2 from what I've seen here. And then it says by adding V2 liquidity, you'll earn 0.22%, so 0.22% of all trades on this pair proportional to your share of the pool. Fees are added to the pool, accrue over real time, can be claimed by withdrawing your liquidity. Perfect. Clear. A lot of stuff wasn't clear in the beginning. I had a lot of conversations around liquidity, how stuff works, and can you claim V2? Like in V3, if you ever did the V3 liquidity, you can claim the fees and stuff you make along the way, and whatever V2, they just get added to the pool, and when you withdraw, you can withdraw your proportion there. So that's with V2. So in the beginning, there was no V1, V2. It was just PulseX liquidity, and there was farms on there, and all the fees were being burned. So it turned out really cool. So it turned out, talk about making the best of that kind of situation. It turned out the V1, this just became like a feature of PulseX. V1, which is where all the farms are, adding V1 liquidity helps burn PulseX. 100% of the fees swaps go to buy and burn contract, which pays a 0.1% bounty for those that run it. So instead of earning fees and the farming token, the ink token, when you do farming, you're just earning the ink token, and 100% goes to the buy and burn, which pays 0.1% bounty for those who run it. So V1, So that's why I call it burn and earn. So V1, fees get burned, but all the farms are on V1, so you can earn ink. Hopefully ink's worth a lot of money. It offsets the permanent loss, all that stuff. And then V2, there aren't any farms. Don't know if there will be in the future. Yeah, I think it makes sense to keep the farms on V1. Who knows what will happen? We'll have single side staking. That was, all these things. Anything can happen, but on V2, no farms, but that's where a lot of people add liquidity if you want to earn the fees. So that's the V1 versus V2 on PulseX. Now, let's see if this loaded. Yeah, I still can't get a good picture of what PulseX used to look like. Did it literally? I mean, I feel like maybe I just can't see the buttons at the top. So I was going to show you kind of like what it looked like before. Apparently there's not much to show here on it. But now here's what's cool. This is way before PulseChain PulseX launched. This is back in February 2022. I think the sacrifice had just wrapped up. Did it wrap up in January, February, somewhere through there? I think it kicked off in December, I want to say. So I think, well, maybe it didn't wrap up, but it was like, wow, yes, getting a screenshot from early PulseX, beta testing is pretty cool. Now here, I believe this is the single-sided staking for PulseChain or for PulseX as well. So auto PLS. So this kind of reminds me of like if you saw like 9-inch and stuff. It kind of reminds me of that kind of interface. So when you're forking this stuff, probably are like different features you can turn on and off and add buttons and stuff for. And this one, they were just testing this is the early PulseX pulse, because you can see if you go to the app and go to farm burn, where would it be? I guess there's not even a button for it now. I think there used to be a button that was like pulls, but there are no pulls, and there's not even a button for pulls anymore. So on this one, you can even see Richard talking about it too. Watching PulseX.com devs test some features, I could see staking PulseX to get the incentive token, but not PulseX. So that was something, whole single-side staking thing. If I remember the narrative, the most interesting narrative at least was you could, people could launch new coins on PulseX and distribute a percentage of the supply for people who were staking PulseX or staking some tokens or otherwise. So it's like a way to distribute supply. And this one even says, he said, I could see staking PulseX to get the incentive token. I wonder, because Richard's had opinions mostly not favorable about single-sided staking before, and that's probably why it's not on there. I think he's taking the position that it's better, more productive for the chain and for PulseX to provide liquidity to earn the incentive token instead of just single-sided staking PulseX to get the incentive token. So, but you could see back then he was talking about, yes, I could see it, staking PulseX to get an incentive token, but not PulseX. But so you want to make sure PulseX is deflationary. There's no way to mint more PulseX. So that was some interesting nuance there as well. So that's why people were talking about single-sided staking. If you want to go way back, PulseChain was originally a BSC fork, and then totally the right move to do it Ethereum 2.0. We can call it Ethereum 2.0. Back then it was Ethereum 2.0, proof of stake fork, and pivot from there. So early look at PulseX pools, single-sided staking type stuff. Pretty cool. And because you can see here, it's like PulseX earned, it was kind of like going by earning the native token. But yeah, so cool little history on that. But now, so let me think about the different changes. So some of the big features, if I don't get through all of these, remind me too. I think some of the biggest upgrades to PulseX, because you get the auto router, which if you, for example, for trading, if you type in, I want 10,000 PulseX, And if you click here, you can see the slippage, you can see the route. And if you click on route, you can see the different places it's going to get, and it even update in real time to get the best deal on these things. Now, if you use Pitius, which I say most people do, then you can see that as well. So if you do like Pitius.io, and we'll do the same. Let's see. Let me go over to the same. What was this? So 10,000 pulse to PulseX. Okay. Click on the route again. So 10,000 pulse to PulseX. So Pitius is an aggregator. So it can look at all the different liquidity pools or the ones they've added to try to get you the best deal. So you can see on this one, it's going to, for this particular one, it's going to Fux, which is another another type of DEX on PulseChain. And it's also using PulseX. So it's using a couple different ways to get it. PulseX is going to use, it's going to use PulseX pools. That's why I think, talk about Richard gave a shout out to Pitius one time, but I think he's always wanted to promote things that like are extremely good for the products. Now, sometimes you may get going. So long story short, using an aggregator of any kind probably will not always go to and do the most buy and burn for PulseX, but it will give the user probably the best deal. So that's just like a personal preference. I've talked about a few times on the show. But you can see the different routes that it's taking. An aggregator would take this consuming or giving you access to a lot of different DEXs and liquidity pools on PulseChain versus PulseX that is just going to take it, this particular route. I've never actually clicked Pulse customize routing. So that's pretty cool. You can actually turn on and off if you want to do custom things. Most people probably don't need to do this, but you can say only use V1, only use V2, or you can turn them off, like don't use these, stable swap. So, and then I'll get to stable swap in a minute, but stable swap provides a higher efficiency for stable or pegged assets and lower fees for trades. So yeah, I got some stablecoin liquidity before stable swap was a feature on PulseX. Then I think the largest stablecoin pools were on Fux, PHUX, and a DEX on PulseChain. So multiple hops. Multi-hops enable token swaps through multiple hops between several pools to achieve the best deal. Turning off will only allow direct swap, which is called higher swaps or even fund loss. Split routing. Split routing enables token swaps to be broken into multiple routes to achieve the best deal. So what is the difference between the hops and the routes here? Multiple hops between several pools to achieve the best deal. Multiple routes. Multiple hops. What is hops versus routes here? I'm not seeing the difference. To me, it's like just different pools. Maybe it's just between, like one is just specific to like V1 or V2 or pulse swap, and one specific between hopping between them all, I guess. Use routing API, switch between all. Okay. So pretty cool there. You can see the trade. You can see the slippage. Again, there's, so people adjust that if they need to, or certain tokens that are, for example, tax tokens or other stuff like that. In order to be able to make the trade, that the way you can make them actually successfully do swaps and stuff, because they need to send a certain amount for the tax or otherwise via the contract. So people adjust the slippage and stuff to handle that. And then it tells you what you minimum you receive, impact. For example, your impact's going to go up if you start doing bigger amounts. Price impact that much. Let's see how much. People forget. Everybody wants to go to Pampy and stuff, but you can literally just be like, what if, let's do PulseX. What if $1 million or $1 million went into PulseX on PulseX DEX? 27% price impact. What about 10 million? 78%. Pretty good. So, a lot of times you're going to break it up into smaller amounts. You've seen that before on the different clips and stuff that have been had on PulseChain. But liquidity. What about $100 million? Yeah, we'll see. We can dream. Not a lot, not doing a lot of moon math today, but it'd be interesting to see the V2. Why is there not V3 on PulseX? Well, there may be one day, but let's get to a 10,000x first. Let's I suspect the reason we have V2 is because probably a lot of the math and the pump fundamentals, if there's anyone out there that's ever going to pump the price, Wells and all that stuff, they may believe that PulseX has better pump fundamentals for liquidity pools and the different math and situations you set up for that. Pretty cool. So again, the PulseX changed a lot. You can see the different, I'll look at the stable real quick to get the stable pools. Actually, is there a quicker way to get stable pools? I feel like I'm clicking way too much to get there. Like you really, I have to go info, stable, scroll down to pools, and then click the pool. I feel like there should just be add stablecoin liquidity button. I kind of got it. I'm like 3 clicks there. So this number fluctuates. I've seen it as high as maybe a couple months ago. I've seen it at almost 15%, like 10 to 14%, somewhere through there. So this can fluctuate, but this is a stablecoin pool, and yeah, you're earning. If you believe these stablecoins are legit and going to stay pegged, and these are USDT, USDC, and DAI from Ethereum, so you can park your stables in there if you want to do stable stuff and earn APY, and you care about, this is like a triple pool thing. I forget what the tech is, but that was a big feature that did get a lot of fanfare for PulseX, but what was on there. So you can look at the burn. I'll get to some of the stats stuff in a minute, but let's see if it's going to load. I'll come back. Let's see. So analytics, you can look at liquidity, you can look at charts. Wow, December, ton of liquidity. I wonder if we're going to go up or if we're going to pump that price up, and we'll see liquidity numbers and values and stuff go from there. Volume as well. Got a volume chart here. Top tokens, top pools, some pretty basic stuff, transactions, lists as well. I don't want to cover the farms too much. I feel like I've talked about farms, and I just want to kind of show you the basics. You can click this calculator, see how much you can earn. 1 year, 30 days, put $10,000 in the farm for example, a stable DAI, which after permanent loss. Go watch some videos on that. Current rates, but who knows if the ink token is worth more and the percentages go up or knobs get turned or new farms get added. Who knows? Will the ink token be worth thousands of dollars one day? Never know. So you see that, click details. You can see the APR and the pair information, all that fun stuff. So people usually come to pull, like if you want to farm for ink, if you want to trade and not use aggregator, or if you want to do liquidity. I think most people come to PulseX these days to do liquidity. And if you look at liquidity, if you, for example, got, $1 million for the Pulse, and you add an equal value on the other side, so you can see the ratio here, and somebody's, this is the V2 pool, and you want to earn fees and again, permanent loss, do your research and stuff on that. Then you can add liquidity, and once you have a liquidity position, you can, check that. Like usually when you're farming, you add liquidity, and then you can, for example, let's see, after you add liquidity, then you can enable the farming and stuff of it. But again, that's V2. You're gonna be burning the fees, and V1, you're gonna be burning the fees for the farms. V2, you're going to be earning the fees, but not earning ink. So PulseX pretty cool. Again, there's other knobs you can adjust. There's the slippage and deadline. What does expert mode do? Customize expert mode. Let's be customized routing. Okay, could get access to that with that I just not want to show. Let's bypasses confirmation modals and allows high slippage trades. Oh, maybe if you want to really turn up the slippage. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Careful those settings if you don't know what you're doing. Language translation. All that fun stuff. And then it's got a link to the bridge. But yeah, that's pretty much Pulse. Oh, yeah, actually another cool feature too that maybe not a lot of people know about is when you do a trade, you're doing it with like one wallet, you can send it, you can receive, for example, whatever the token is, you can receive it in another wallet. Like if you want to take Pulse in one wallet and buy Hex with it, but you want to send it to another wallet, the result of that trade to another wallet, you can, do 0x also. Make sure you get the wallet address correct into this one, and you can receive that token in another wallet. So pretty cool. Yeah, is there any features that anyone hasn't tried out before or doesn't know about PulseX? I think it's pretty cool, pretty smooth, easy to use. Again, the price hasn't did 10,000x yet, so everyone's just like, it's hard for people to get excited about it, but it's a cool product. I mean, it works. It has the features you need, make the trades you need to do. Pretty cool stuff. All right. Let's get to look into PT. I know there's PAMPy, but I wonder if PTGC. I wonder if the moon math here, I want to use the moon math here for a minute because I had trouble using PAMPy the other day. I don't know why. I was just like, I just need to look at the interface. So let's say I put PulseX in here. And so again, I use GoRoDeFi all the time. For example, I want to get a contract address, go to GoRoDeFi, click the magnifying glass, type in PulseX. I'll get the verified PulseX contract, which will tell us the max total supply, which should just be the total supply because it's deflationary. So there's 141 trillion, 226,000 holders. And you can look at your contract and all that fun stuff too. But if you click the copy button, where are we at? Go over here. Oh, the pair address. Okay, so if we want to do a pair address, I thought that was token address. We can take token address, put it in here. You can also type PulseX, but if you want to make sure you're not getting a fake PulseX and stuff, it'll try to sort by the top liquidity and all that too. But we can type that. We can just look at the biggest. So the biggest pool is on V1, PulseX. And it's a $9 million liquidity. If we scroll down here, I feel like I'm doing crypto 101 right now. Decentralized crypto 101 on the Pulse chain with the PulseX. And we can see the pair. This is the pair address. So you can copy that. While we're here, let's chart. Let's check the Pulse versus PulseX. Man, look at that. Just ever since September. Yeah, ever since September, a few months after launch, PulseX just been gaining on Pulse. Look at that. Starting to come down a little bit, but we'll see. Pretty interesting though. All right, so we got the contract address. Go back over here, type it in. X factor. So double the price. Multiplier for final price calculation. Let's just do 10,000x. See what it does. Paired token price target. Do I need to do both? Or is that just, are they optional? Let's see. X factor. So I don't need to put an X factor. Paired token price target. Do I put 10,000x here? I think so. Okay, so that's from today's price, so 27 cents. Wow. I guess if the pair remains the same, or is that the ratio for it? If the ratio remains the same, 41 cent pulse. Whew, man, 41 cent pulse would be amazing. Yeah, at that ratio. Okay. And then let's go to PAMPy real quick. What happens if I click here? I get some stats. Oh, this got burn stats on here too. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. So on PAMPy.app, Burn progress 7.56%. So this is 143 trillion total supply, but the circulating supply outside of the OA, do we have, what is the circulating supply? Circulating supply, where can tell me that is on GoPulse. So total burned, total supply. Okay, so out of the giant well hands, which many people believe will remain, or basically, I assume they're basically burned. I mean, I assume for any foreseeable, time when I will care about it, or you could say at least for this bull run, or anything interesting will happen to them if they ever go into the Heart Foundation or be used to whatever in whatever way. Doesn't affect me. Probably won't affect anyone. For, do you care if they're only burned if they're locked up for 10 years? Like, do you care? Like, stuff like that. By the way, let's click 24 hour. So 20 trillion supply, and then 1.52 trillion burned. So 7% burned of the, what I would consider actually circulating supply that I care about. So pretty cool. And so we got holder stats as well. Price appreciation simulator. See, this is what, why can I don't want to do all of them. I just want to do, should I just have 0 from all this? X PulseX custom split. Oh, I can just click X. All right. So, and this is what if, what if $1 million goes in PulseX? Okay, this just says, okay, I just do $1 million. It's going to tell me all of them. All right. Look at liquidity real quick. PulseX stables. Okay, so it's got the main liquidity stuff too. Okay, so $1 million, not going to do that much. $10 million. Let's see. Now we're getting moving a little bit. PulseX Inc. moving the most, 14.6x. $100 million. Let's see. PulseX almost 1,000x, so 932x. And from current price to be around 2 cents. And then why not? Let's just put a quick bill into it. See what happens. 89,000x, $1 billion goes into it. All right, do we need to play with it to be like, I want to be like, what gets it to a 10,000x? Is it just you keep playing with numbers? 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Let's just try that real quick. 27,000. Okay, we can just keep extrapolating down here. Use whatever fancy word you want to for it. 5,000x. All right, let's do some real numbers. 350 million. 11,000, getting closer. Let's do 32. 320 million. Almost. So it should be around 330 million. Yep. Let's get a little bit more. 335 here. Really? Just one more. I know this will work. Boom. 10,000x. So $334 million going to PulseX. We'll do a 10,000x, 12,000x for Inc. Just a nice $18,000 Inc. A $12 X. Ooh, pretty nice. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And 5 cent pulse. So that's pretty awesome. Where we get that's from like a lot of money going to PulseX. Will it happen over time? Will any of the whales not use any of their money? Will just be fuel to the fire when the retail's coming in, all that fun stuff. But yeah, there's your moon. There's a quick moon math for 10,000x money coming into it. Honestly, 334 million. again, there's going to be sell pressure. You can adjust sell pressure too, by the way. Even with, let's do even 90%. Let's just do 90% sell pressure. 90% sell pressure. So even if you're like 2000x, that'll never happen. Would you be happy with 115x? Like maybe some people are happy with that. So pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. So I like that. Let's see. I think the biggest, let's go over to DeFi Llama. I'm gonna wrap up here in like just a few minutes. Do you have any questions? I have not got to talk to chat. But apparently we have some news on the basis cut, rate cut. Before we go over here, Fed rate cut. What to say? Are we dumping or are we pumping? Are we dumping or pumping? Cuts rates by 25. That's what chat was saying. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me know. 25%. All right. Let's do 25 and then 50-50. We can do that. We can do that. I like that. All right. Is the Bitcoin dumping or pumping? One day. Should we look at the 5-minute chart? Let's look at the let's look at the ETH 5-minute chart. It seems to have plenty of liquidity. When did this happen? 55. Yeah, not much now. Anyways, that's probably useless to look at. All right, continue. 25 basis points. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get 50 more after that, hopefully. Another thought, you can look at it for volume, information, all that fun stuff. See, what's that? Fees and revenue. Okay, I guess it has to. Shout out to DeFi Llama, by the way. Have not, knock on wood, not delisted. Always seems to be always nice and friendly to PulseChain, or at least keeps it professional in that way. Pretty cool. Look at the volume, all the stuff there. I wonder how earnings is calculated. Is that just from fees, or is that from? Are they looking at incentive token stuff too? Let's see, methodology is so TVL revenue come from user fee. Okay, maybe they're just looking at fees. So they're not looking at ink earnings on that. B1 25% used to buy and burn. I'm not sure all this is 100% correct. So I wonder, could be interesting. What if these calculations are correct for this stuff? I didn't even think about people looking at income statements for DEXs, but yeah, sounds like a thing. If we go to DEXs, by the way, why don't I see any buttons here for the things I want to see? Did they change DEX screener? I can't. Okay, I'm used to all these buttons being over here. Okay. Chains, pulls, fees, volume, DEX volume by protocol. Is that going to give me a list of all the DEXs? Okay. Where's PulseX sitting? How's it? Where's it sitting? 14 million DEX volume. 14 million. Okay, 68. Okay. 40 million DEX volume over 24 hours, 121 million over 7 days, and 30 days, 630. Okay. 30-day volume's pretty good, much more ahead. So we sort by 30-day volume, where we sit, 57. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So DeFi Llama's got some stats on there. Got some charts and things I've seen as well. The only other thing I'll share, because we're running out of time here, is Midgard shows the buy and burn too, which is really cool, right? Like the coolest feature one of the best things, the buy and burn, buys and burns tokens. It sounds that simple, but boy, I wonder what's going to happen when we get volume and stuff popping and all the different avenues that can bring volume to the chain. Like, it's already burned a lot so far, already bought and burned a lot, but I'm excited to see that in a bull run. Like, that's going to be pretty cool. And that's going to be like a sight to see. People are going to be much more excited about PulseX with that particular thing. And there's some, I've been seeing, I want to make more PulseX content too, because there isn't, most of the stuff is either Hex or PulseChain related, especially for the cores. I don't see a lot of content, but it's just one of those things. When it gets going, I think there'll be much more. So what is PulseX charts? So shout out to Midgard. They're awesome. What is PulseX charts? I think this is just like charts for the different cores and stuff. Okay, so it's like integrated deck screener. Okay. What is... Yeah, on GoPulse too. Okay. Let's hit up like one more too, because I was looking. By the way, if you find good PulseX sites or chain places, let me know. I would like to see more. You got trades, volume, liquidity. Again, there's a ton of metrics for Hex and PulseChain, but PulseX, I feel like, I'd love to see you looking at PulseX.com. Buy and burns, you can see a list of those. Pretty cool. You can see the latest, but if you click largest, pretty cool. Over 1 billion. Yeah, 1 billion was burned a couple years ago. And then close to 1 billion around the same time. And then 10 months ago, pretty close to 1 billion as well, 784 million. That's some pretty big burns. So hoping to see those numbers pumped way up for the PulseX. All right. I think that we covered the majority of stuff. Pretty good. Again, so I can get the comments, but wanted to blaze through a lot of different stuff. You got the history, know where PulseX came from. All the resources, you know how to get to it. You can go to the official site, you can go to DeFi. Go on the official, I would go to PulseX.com. Just read about all this stuff. Like, this is really, really good information. And it can, if you read this, I don't know how you don't read it and be like, bullish on PulseX. Every time I read this, I'm like, wow, this is extremely good information, straight to the point. Well said, well explained. PulseChain's largest exchange, yield farm, get the incentive token. Let's see how stuff goes. But boy, it's pretty cool. I like the PulseX a lot. I like it. All right, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see if we're streaming tomorrow or not. But that's all I got for you. I'll leave you with, let's do rockets up. Let's get pumped up. Let's go.
This is the greatest thing I have ever seen in my life. This is amazing.